Film Rage presents Verbal Masturbation with Bryce and Jim. Welcome to a special edition of Verbal Masturbation. In this edition, we are talking with local Calgary director by way of Mexico, Mr. Adrian G. de la Pena. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. Now, we have a little bit of fun to just kind of loosen people up. I know we had a little bit of a chat before we started recording. First thing to know, we don't edit anything. Everything we do is live. So if you fuck up, if we fuck up, it usually goes in the interview. And it kind of gives us this raw feel that, because we like it kind of raw on Film Rage. So we do a little thing I call OR, where I'm going to ask you a question and I'm going to ask you something or something else. So it's a real easy one to answer, but it's surprisingly how a lot of directors sometimes go, I need to expand. So have fun with it. It's kind of like one of those acting exercises where everybody just stretches their brain and has some fun. All right. So the first question is Guillermo del Toro or David Cronenberg?
Guillermo del Toro.
Okay.
Easy. We're starting easy, I guess.
Wait, but you're Canadian.
Well, we're both Mexicans living in Canada. Yeah.
Okay, documentary or narrative film?
Narrative.
Okay. Now, this one may sound, it's not the actual disease, so hopefully you know what this is. Leprosy or agora?
Leprosy.
Okay, awesome. So you knew what that was.
Metal band?
Yes!
Yeah, okay. Perfect.
We understand you're a pretty big metalhead, so.
Which one is Agora, by the way?
They've been around a long time. I think they're rated as like the biggest of all of the Mexican metal bands.
Oh.
You like your more indie stuff, do you?
Not really. My favorite band is Angra from Brazil.
Oh, okay.
I've got like every Angra album that they got, man.
Best band.
They're
Best
so
band
good.
ever.
They're so good. Melodic metal. It's at its best right there.
Yes.
Nice. Okay, so I also understand you like pizza. So Una or Lena's?
Could you believe I haven't tried Lena's?
Oh. Well, they used to have half price on Sundays, so I have to wait till they start.
Can I say another brand?
Yeah, of course.
Noble Pie.
Oh, yeah. Noble is, it's their pepperoni that's so good. Yeah, good choice. Okay, and the last one. This one may be a tough one for you to answer, because I'm sure maybe it's not your first place you go when you go back and visit, but Cancun or Puerto Vallarta?
Well, Puerto Vallarta.
Okay. So
closer to home.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I was just gonna go because you're like, well, it's not hip hop, but you go like East Coast versus West Coast. I don't think metal does that. So
depending on the subgenre, maybe hardcore will do that.
Nice. All right. So tell us about the cryptic in your new film.
Yes. So nahuales are these cryptids from Mesoamerica that is south of Mexico and part of Central America. And depending on the country or region, these nahuales might be interpreted differently. Spanish colonizers interpreted the closest of their knowledge, which were basically werewolves for their understanding. But nahuales are either like evil sorcerers or witches, or they have as well the power of creating the illusion of animals. Then they could also be interpreted as shapeshifters, not to wolves, but just like sort of twisted animals.
Okay, so not like vampires, which can also be bats. It's
exactly.
Yeah. Oh wow. So is this all different regions within Mexico? And
Guatemala as well.
Okay, yeah.
And in other regions, for example, Guatemala their nahuales are more like protective spirit animals. and either these protective spirits are assigned to you at birth, or through a ceremony with spiritual plants as well, or psychedelic plants.
Wow. Oh, okay. Well, I might be in for that. So I can just have to go to Guatemala, Guatemala, and then actually just hit some psychotropic drugs, and I might get my own.
Finding your Nahual.
Nice. I love it.
So yeah, well, I wanted to bring that into. It's just like as a foreigner here, or just like in Mexico, we consume all that Hollywood produces, good and bad. And it's always vampires, it's always werewolves, it's always the same creatures. So then, now that I'm here, it's sort of like my way of bringing this not so explored creature into this international setting. Because there are so many great movies being produced in Mexico and each of the countries, but then similarly with the movie Parasite, which won the Oscar, but at the same time, it's just like subtitles is a big filter for English-speaking countries.
Yeah, we would agree with you. It's actually international horror and drama is our favorite genre. So genre is plural. Yeah, we do love our Mexican horror films. We can tell you that. So
nice.
All right, so the dog in this in Nahuali, how do you say that? I haven't even.
Nahuali.
Nahuali.
Perfect.
Yes.
So the dog in Nahuali, how was this done? Can you share any secrets?
Yes. Well, no secret. Just probably utilizing the budget properly.
Yeah. Always key.
But always key. But to begin with, we had a team of puppeteers on set that created 3 different puppets, or I think even 4. Well,
that's cool.
One I have here. 1 second.
Oh, nice.
This is
cool.
Basically the skull that comes from the dirt. But silly me, I didn't know how dirt behaves at -30. So I thought it was just gonna be falling like sand, and in reality, it's just like chunks of frozen dirt.
Ice blocks.
Yeah, so that didn't work. Then that was one. The other one is a hand puppet that we used for close-ups. Then there was one that it was a coyote skull, like 3D printed, but with a sort of like a sleeve and just like goo and lots of like textures that the puppeteer team had it controlled that it could sort of like articulate the movement, and they pulled like a sleeve that we could then reverse on post-production, and that just sort of like looks like the coming back to like just skin crawling onto the skull.
Yeah,
and
I'm so impressed with the fact that like here it looks so good on it. It's like it sounds like you're not a big CGI fan.
Well, I'll get to that in a second. And lastly, we had the full-size puppet for the wide shots. Then, and this was more like for reference for camera and performers to have something to interact with.
Yeah.
Then we replaced all of the puppets with CGI. So we had a team of CGI artists, 3D artists from Mexico, 2 animators from Peru, and then 2 VFX artists back in Mexico that replaced all the puppets. Not all of them. The one coming from the dirt is all physical, and the one with the skin crawling, that it's also all physical, all practical. But the rest of them, all the finished version of it is CGI. And that way we were able to expand, just like hair, it's a little bit more alive in a sense. We were able to then work with the creature design after the fact we shot the project. So we were able to just make it a little bit more scary, but integrating that nature element. It's supposed to be created out of the ground, right? So nature elements, branches, wood, etc., like the bones and skull are covered with this sort of like woody texture. And even like this one, this is dried. This is all like dried cactus from Mexico that the production designer brought, and these are actual coyote fangs.
Oh wow!
From a witchcraft market back in Mexico City.
That's so cool. That's awesome. So how long was the actual shooting schedule for it? Like
we shot over 2 days in this location. We bought hopefully, but no, we didn't buy the house. We rented the house for a week, so it was nice because then rehearsals happened without having to rent a place. Like we were just there. From the crew, it was 8 of us that stayed in the house. Then the lead actress came from Toronto, so she stayed there. And, myself as well. So it was nice because we were able to just like 1 hour go out, figure out things, come back and just like keep on working on some other things. And the actual shoot was 2 days on that location. Everything happened around that Airbnb that I rented, and all the rebirth scenes are done in a 3rd day on a studio. Once we were editing, obviously we could like chunks of dirt didn't look good on the coming back to life scene. So we had to figure out how to make that happen, and chatting with Kyra McPherson. She's a special effects lead and special effects artist, and she helped out and I basically told her like we need to find all these elements that connect dirt with a full alive creature. So then she started playing around with stuff. She had guts. She had a bunch of like practical mechanisms that she has used in other productions. And I got us a studio, and it was basically 3 of us and a stand-in performer because the actress was in Toronto. So the stand-in performer and the 3 of us just like playing around with what could look good. We used even like coconut fibers as well for all those sort of like veins type of looking things, and it worked out amazing. Like I'm surprised of how well both. It was a different camera. It was just like one light that we had there at the studio, and it just like being such different worlds, it sort of like blended together super good on the final project.
Yeah, no, the look is beautifully shot. So the shooting location wise, it was it. Was it actually in close to Calgary that it was kind of shot, or? Yeah, we were close in between Calgary and Cochrane. Gotcha.
Yeah, sort of like 10 minutes away from Tuscany Station.
Okay, so, and it was minus 30 even then. Wow. In Calgary, I don't even think it gets that cold very often, but apparently.
It was such a, like, I'm super happy about that because it looks great. Just like that snowstorm and just all white out in the, like, fresh snow on the location. It's so cold. The performers are cold as well. They're suffering from the cold, but then you see on the beard how it's just like getting a little bit of snow in there, and it's just like such a unique look. Originally, the project, I envisioned it to be fall, but then just like the timing of the grant, the timing of everything, sort of like it had to happen in that month.
Yeah.
And even timing for those weeks, it was basically, I needed to have that finish shot by those dates because I wanted to have it ready for Cannes this past May. So then I needed to have that post-production time, and then people coming from Mexico. It was that weekend. Then we were just like checking weather, and like, yeah, well, fuck, -30 storm.
It looked great though.
Yeah, it looked great.
And,
Yes.
and we all know art's always better when you suffer.
Exactly. It was such a religious experience, I would say.
Yeah, no
Just
doubt.
like having survived that.
So you made two films that you released this year.
Yes.
So tell our listeners the challenge of working. So now, are you a full-time teacher or / professor?
I am part-time.
Okay.
I am just a contractor.
Okay,
not even
gotcha.
part-time.
So on top of being a teacher, and I think you're also a producer, and you also have a bunch of things going on. How were you able to manage shooting two short films at the same time?
It's difficult. Obviously, like I quit my previous job. I was a lead editor for a studio team at Neo Financial, and also directing a couple of pieces there. But I quit back in December, and I was teaching for 30 hours a week, I believe, in that winter semester. So I obviously got people to cover me, and just like working the rest of the hours that I guess it's basically trying to find ways to be efficient at whatever projects you have going on, or I had going on. At the same time, 2022 was a really good year. I was part of a development lab in Blood in the Snow Film Festival. Mm-hmm. And that development lab and meeting all the people there sort of like kickstarted this drive for me, or even the knowledge and inspiration to start my own company and pursue producing more professionally, or just like seriously. And then I started like studying where funds come from, and like what's the process like, and what are the multiple options that I have at my disposal, or what are at everybody's disposal. And then you start figuring out this gazillion catch-22s of you cannot direct a feature without a feature, you cannot do a commercial without directing a commercial, you cannot direct TV without directing TV. And so then it's sort of like finding that strategy and working ahead on, okay, tell them to watch, let's create a project that is aimed for that. So I shot a proof of concept short for that project called Little Fang's Horror Club, which is a dramedy about a junior high teacher trying to prove his theory that horror movies are good for kids' development, so then shows horror movies to kids. Obviously that could be really bad and traumatic as well, but that's the fun, that's the comedy of it. Then Nawali, it's another one. That was the project I was part of the lab with. Then I'm also working on another documentary about the benefits of horror. And lastly, there is this, I'm shooting this feature next spring. It's a hockey slasher titled Ice Rat.
Nice.
And that's it's also sort of like playing with budget levels. Nawali has been proving a little bit hard just because the budget is higher, and I'm getting lots of rejections in the sense of I need to either make it cheaper, or just being told that I cannot get those budgets as a first-time director. So instead of sacrificing the project, then I am making another movie so that I can have that movie under my belt, and I can move on to direct Nawali and getting those budgets as well.
Oh yeah, that's it's kind of the leapfrog, isn't it?
So with all of your credits, and there's numerous of them, what one are you most proud of?
Well, Nawali is there's T minus. It's a short film that I did back in 2018, and that sort of it's one of those milestones in my career that I'm actually really proud. I got a couple of awards and even monetary awards as well. So that project I did for 1,000, and so far I gotten 2,500. So that's already doubled the spend.
Yes! Score! Yeah, for sure.
And but at the same time, it's such an intimate drama. It looks great. We accomplished so much with just so little, and so that's one that I'm really, really proud. And I still look at it and I'm like, this is good.
Because pretty damn good for $1,000.
we look back at our projects, and some of them are like, oh, maybe I'll just hide this from now on, or stuff like that sort of things. But then with T minus, it's like, this needs to stay there, and it's still in my reel. Obviously, Nawali, it's another one that I'm super proud. Like, it's such an accomplishment in level of production, level of amount of people and crew that I had involved, and just like all the people that I had in post-production as well, and how that is like based out of my feature script, then distilling that into a short film, and just like what was important for the feature and fit that into the short. And there's a bunch of details that I had to take out of the script, and still there are many questions that are left unanswered on the short film, but at least it works in a sense that it's just a simple revenge story.
Yep.
If you don't pay attention.
Yep.
If you pay deeper attention, then you can find certain details here and there to keep you guessing, but in a good way.
Yeah.
So with Nawali, I'm super proud of that one, and it's the way I see it is that it's, as an artist, you're always like doubting yourself, right? With that project, I'm sort of like, okay, I know I can achieve certain things, and it's not me, but it's the crews, obviously. But I don't feel like I now feel confident about myself.
Nice.
Does that make sense? Well,
it does.
Yeah.
Yeah. You should be proud. It's a good film.
So speaking of your past work still, where can people see it? Where can we see some of these shorts from the past? I want to see T minus now. Where am I looking for that?
Go to, like, on my website, it's adriandelapena.com.
All right.
And on my Instagram as well, there is a link to my website. And basically, I try to keep everything all my social media and web presence on the same name. So Adrian de la Pena, Adrian G de la Pena.
Yep.
That's how you find me. Facebook, and I'm not on Twitter, I'm not on TikTok, but you find me on Vimeo, on YouTube, my website, Instagram, and the other is Machakiller.com and Machakiller Productions on Instagram.
Cool.
Nice. Okay, well, that kind of takes us to the formal part of our questions. Is there anything that we missed that maybe you want to share with our listeners?
What's that again?
Well, is there anything that you maybe want to share that we didn't ask you about you can share with our listeners?
Yes. So one thing, I am launching a crowdfunding campaign for Ice Rats, the hockey slasher that I mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, like right now the campaign is not yet active, but same thing, Instagram, Ice Rats Movie. My Instagram has a link to that website as well.
Perfect.
I'll be posting more about it. And we need that hockey horror movie to happen. And this is it, with some metal involved, obviously.
Nice.
Violence.
Nice. Awesome. Well, Adrian, thank you so much for joining us. It was great to see your film in cinemas, which all three of us got to see it. So
amazing.
We were super happy, and the film that follows it is also very brilliant. It must have been fun to be a part of that. So, thanks so much for joining us. And, well, thanks to our Ragers for listening. Find us on social media everywhere at Film Rage YYC. Check out everything Film Rage at filmrageyyc.com. Please like, subscribe, share, and send us emails to filmragecalgary@gmail.com. That's it for this special verbal masturbation episode. Now try and watch all of Adrian's films and get ready to give him some money. Until next time, rage on.